Here we are. It's now 5:01 and we are starting the Snoqualmie Parks and Events Commission meeting. I'm Emily Anderson. I'm the current chair of the commission. Today's meeting is being recorded and will be available on the city website. Thanks for joining us, everyone. This might be the largest in volume meeting that we've had yet, so it's exciting. Yeah. Okay, so why don't we go around and we'll do kind of a roll call and a call to order, and we can just do quick introductions, I think, at the same time, so we can find out who everybody is. So as I said, I'm Emily Anderson. I've been on the commission for maybe 3 years, 3.5, I don't know. And I've been chair for 1.5 years. A while of that we won't necessarily count. So we'll say maybe a yearish. I live just at the bottom of the ridge here. I have 2 kids and a golden retriever, and I am an avid trail runner and a skier. It's a great introduction. Thanks. Sure. Yeah.
I'm Renee Price. This is my second Parks and Events meeting, so happy to be here. I also am on the school board and involved in a few other community projects. Just care about our community and like to help it however I can. So I have 3 kids, but they're not little. My oldest is at UW, and my twins are seniors in high school this year. So we've lived here since 2008, and I'm not an avid here. But it sounds really nice right now.
Yeah, I mean,
That's me.
I'm Nicole Levy, I'm the community liaison, so I'm here for the events, Parks and Events Commission.
Hi, I'm Phil. I'm the Deputy Director of Parks and Public Works. Formerly, I was the City Forester. I also have 3 children, and one other thing I'll mention is on the side I volunteer for the Green Community Leadership Institute of with an example.
great. What was the
Green Community Leadership Institute. Yeah.
I'm Dylan Gamble. I'm the capital improvement plan manager for the city, the Ian Park side of things. That's what. And I live here locally as well, not just work here. Yeah, do all sorts of stuff with regards to public works activities, as well as obviously we do. That includes parks and trails and other things.
We have a big problem with that.
Big problem.
The parks. No.
No problems. No problems. Pause recording. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, they're killing it.
I'm Amanda Frame. I've been on the Parks Commission, I think, since January of this year. I am a resident of Snoqualmie Ridge, living in the Silent Creek neighborhood. Now and then you may see my name pop up in emails as I'm sharing about something with the parks near my neighborhood. I have little kids, kindergarten and 1st grade, so excited to have them back in school. And we're still at practice every day right now. They're at Jeannie Hansen playing soccer.
Robert Thrall, I'm legal assistant / deputy city clerk. Been with the city, this is my 4th week now. So just getting to know the ropes, learning mission committee, council meetings. So,
I'm Dina Dean. I'm the city clerk. I've been with the city for almost 3 years now. I live about 1.5 hours north of here, and I have 3 kids on college.
Paul Swim, vice chair. I'll be hitting my 11-year anniversary, I think, next month on the commission. And lived on the ridge since 2011. And bring the urban planning lane to this, and I champion trails, although I'm not a trail runner, I'm a trail walker. And the Darth Vader is tree forts. So whenever I see one, I call up the city staff and say, it would be a tree fort off of the woods. So
That's good.
and yeah, we have to keep the trees alive, right? So, yeah, just sort of, hammering away at things for a while now and, looking forward to a productive meeting tonight. Very full room, I think there's 10 of us, so.
All right, we've all gone.
I am sorry, I'm late.
No.
I'm Ethan Benson, councilman, and the council liaison to this group. And I also moved here in 2011. And I go to parks a lot.
Okay, great, thanks everyone. So let's do a roll call, just for commissioners, quickly, I know we've kind of already done it, but Renee Anderson present.
Renee Price, present.
Great.
And Fran present.
Also, I'm present.
All right, and then Commissioner Hadley Everett has requested to be excused, absence from today's meeting. Is there a motion excusing Commissioner Everett's absence?
What did we do that?
Great. And then, thank you, seconded. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Great, all right, motion passes unanimously to excuse Hadley, hopefully she's off doing something fun. And now, I don't have any public comments, or let's approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda as it is?
So,
Thank you.
Also, you can second.
no, I was not.
You can second the agenda though.
I can second the agenda, yes.
Not the
Yeah.
minutes.
I'll second the minutes we're talking about.
Approving tonight's agenda.
I'll second the agenda.
Yeah,
Yes.
anybody can do that. Yes, we'll get to the minutes in a second. No public comments, right? Nothing submitted in writing, do you know? Okay,
Can I chime in?
yeah, you have a public comment?
I do,
Okay.
I'll keep it brief, but I'm the local transit super geek. And just to let everyone know, because the 2-line for light rail affects commuters from this community. While we were sleeping last night, a train went over the I-90 bridge on its own power to begin the testing. They did a little dog and pony show back in May, Sound Transit of pulling the train across the bridge, but then there was nothing happening. But hopefully that is the beginning of regular testing successfully, because they've had to be in congruence with WashDOT to allow that to happen. And hopefully they can make the April 2026 revenue opening for this 2-line. So some of us can be very happy to go to hockey games, take it by rail and not the bus. So.
Cool, thank you for that.
And the extension of Federal Way opens December 6th on Saturday. That's a grand opening. That's all I have.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, thanks, it's exciting, it's great. Okay, council liaison report.
Well, what you guys would be most interested in is, last night at our council meeting, Mayor Pro Tem Holloway made a motion or said that he was looking at nominating somebody to the Valley, oh gosh, what's the name of it? Snoqualmie Valley Aquatics Council, yeah. Because there's currently no representative on that from Snoqualmie. But the idea of that council is that the best chance that we're gonna get a pool in this area is if everybody in the valley works together on it.
Can I ask how far that goes? Is it just North Bend, Snoqualmie, or does it include?
No, it includes Fall City, it includes,
I think there's tribal representation on it and who else, Dylan, you know?
I don't think Carnation's in it, so I think it's just Upper Valley
Okay.
for the most part.
Carnation's usually underwater,
Yeah.
so.
That would make sense.
But
Typically Snoqualmie Valley.
Yeah.
All the way down there, so
I'm
curious.
I'm trying to remember if there's anybody from Duval. I don't think there is. I don't know. I should know the answer to that question. It was an excellent question that I should have been prepared for.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not, like you, I'm not 100% sure, but I think we're all kind of on that page. I think it's a
Personally, I'd be mad at Duval if they wanted in.
No, we definitely not either.
But that is something that the representative from
city council
Has not been chosen
yet,
but that's something that we're gonna be giving the mayor pro tem input on that, and then he'll make a nomination. We'll all vote on it.
Any idea on timeline for that?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
So the next,
I think it'll happen at the next city council meeting.
Well, that'll be exciting.
How do you, if you're interested in that position, make yourself known? Or.
so that is the one that the mayor pro tem is talking about would be a council member.
Oh, I
Who would be nominated by him, but I was thinking that it might be smart to have somebody from the commission. That would help to represent that.
But that, I don't know what the mechanics on that are. That'd be a
Good question for me to follow up with Mayor Pro Tem all the way on.
You know, how many people from North Bend or how many people?
I think there,
Any questions for you?
there are a lot of,
Amazing.
there are a lot of people on it. I think there's
Yeah, and they've been working for several years.
trying to make it all happen.
But I think there were also representatives of
Side you know, for parks,
Yeah.
Together is kind of the group that pushed to bring that conversation back into the same room. And so they are no longer the hub of that of that being organized. That is now Travis at Sideview, but, or at least that's my understanding. But they are part of it. The cities are part of it, and I'm not sure who they sent in each case to represent. And anyway, so it is they have been trying to keep it to be a somewhat concise group. We have somebody from the school board that is a part of that group. So they're trying to get as many voices.
They have also lamented
that there was no representation from Snoqualmie.
Yeah.
So,
It was-
and I think that's
I think that
Thank you.
there you go.
There it is.
That will probably give you a good idea of some of the people that are in it.
Do you know the names where it's the city of North Bend alternate? Do you remember the names?
Rustic, Kellen, Tremolata are all, they're all council members.
kids. He's been with it for a while.
Yeah, why would you start with council member and then they feel like another voice is helpful and necessary to open it up a bit.
So it really looks like it's ran by North Bend and Sideview. It's really based on building, so.
The goal was to create a community conversation that wouldn't be like centered on North Bend. But Snoqualmie declining to participate really shifted that weight more so. So I'm glad to hear that we will have a voice in that group.
It does seem a bit skewed, facilitators there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in their defense, it wasn't, I don't think, it wasn't, they were freezing Snoqualmie out.
No.
It was like, although, I don't know that we ever got a formal request for representation, so.
They might not have minimums either, so this might be the list of people that have volunteered. It's not like this group where you have to have quorum in order to make it. I mean, they're not voting with money in this. So it's just a coalition.
National.
They might just keep adding the list as it's not relevant, but.
But a partnership with these,
People is the best way to get money.
so.
Well, and obviously if they have Sideview parks and Fall City parks, that in addition to city council members, it makes sense to ask for a city. Here is
Good
good.
point, yeah.
I'm guessing they
What's
didn't
his name?
reach out to us earlier because we have our own track going on.
I don't know why they didn't reach out to us, at least
That would be my
officially.
assumption.
But I think also that our focus has been on our own pool project.
Right.
Which has come up short at this point in money. And the best, part of where we came up short is we didn't get the grant money that we wanted from the county. And the truth is, our best chance of getting grant money from the county is if there's a valley coalition of people who want to.
Yeah.
That'll serve the region, because counties generally look at regional benefit.
I know they've increasingly been granting that to coalitions versus individual communities, so.
Which does not seem unreasonable to me.
Okay, great, thanks for that. All right, now, roll the minutes, dated July 15th, 2025. I have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
I'll
It would have to be you.
make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Am I able to second that, Dana, because I'm the only commissioner present that was at that meeting? Okay, well.
You're a commissioner.
Yeah. Great, I'm gonna second.
Listen to the meeting.
I was gonna say, do we have a quorum to approve it, or do we need that to approve it?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, okay, so motion by Tim, seconded by myself, Emily Anderson, to approve the minutes dated July 15th, 2025. If there are no further questions, are there any questions about that meeting? Okay, let's discuss that. Like we talked about a lot of things, we were here for a while. So we can take a look there. We had a lot of things on our to-do list, which we'll look at tonight to see kind of where we are with all of that. But all those approve those minutes, say aye. Okay, aye. I think we can all say aye.
And I wasn't here.
Okay.
Based on my listening in.
There you go.
Yes.
I think you can still.
Oh,
have an
well,
opinion.
okay.
Yeah, even if you weren't here.
Okay.
Those opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes unanimously to approve the minutes from July 15th. All right,
Just out of curiosity, in that case, if someone doesn't want to vote for minutes and staying, can two of us out of the 5 pass the motion? Or does it have to be a quorum of 3? Okay, so 3 of your votes would be needed to pass it. And then an alternative idea might be to defer them to the next meeting as well, if no one.
we don't have enough.
Right.
Okay. Okay. All right, you guys, on to regular business for tonight. First on the agenda is community center expansion project. At our last meeting, we talked a lot about different ideas of ways to support this potential project. If something happens such as the city of Snoqualmie was not approved for the grant, and that is now the case. So we just wanted to introduce it again to talk about kind of what that looks like moving forward and what our role would be to support either that project or something, some type of pool expansion project. I'm looking at you, Phil, because Josh says that you can help fill it in.
I'm actually going to punt to Dylan, who's got more detailed information on this. But
Yeah.
we'll say that Councilmember gave, the initial big update, which is we did fail in our grant application. So why don't you take it from there?
Yep, so with that reality, the options are to look at what the funding picture is and the potentials that we have, so we have gone out and requested how much does this cost now? Reality check again with our current funding situation that we have it, as we have it. And then I believe we reached out to some of our other partners, such as the YMCA, to confirm or verify the funding that we're hoping and everything to see if there's any other opportunities. So that's kind of what's going on right now. We have received some preliminary numbers, but nothing that I want to be gone to. But it's a similar funding picture that we had before. Things cost more, and more money didn't show up. So we're going to be doing. So we're looking at different alternatives in the scope, which we're trying to come up with. And this has been true for our discussions with councils. Here are the scope concepts we have. Essentially like a very basics version. We have add a couple features, and each time you add a feature, you add whatever the cost is, and then a range of that cost And so we're just updating those numbers, and then the intent would be to bring it back to council to see what the direction is going forward. That's gonna be the next steps.
I would mention something about potentially, I don't know if it was applying for the grant again, or.
Cobbling together a plan B.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. I just meant, specific to like not receiving this grant, finding maybe some
Yeah.
holes in that process. And
Or other.
working either around them or
Sure.
giving them more information. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know how you
To
do it.
avoid being caught with whatever Jeff said, because I don't know what he said exactly, I can tell you that there was some curiosity on our part about the process, and we were going down some confirmation about how it was done. The selection process,
Who approved it, who denied it?
who approved, well, the group denied it or approved it together, but we were curious about that decision-making tree and whether it was fair, valid, and those types of things, and so we have been checking in on that, but nothing to report back as to a plan B, so to speak. But essentially, what was written stands until it is not. You don't really update on when or if that's possible.
Okay. So our last meeting in July, we were thinking that we needed kind of like on this commission to either present before council with our fundraising ideas or boots on the ground, get out into the community, right? Letters of support, how and with haste. But is that still true? Is there any type of haste that we need to have? Or are we just kind of all in this holding period where we're like, we're waiting to hear?
Yeah, essentially, the haste would be for something that you don't even know what the picture is yet.
Yeah.
So what we want to do as staff is to bring back the accurate picture now that all the what if this happens situations are now gone. And we know they are, and we can go get the final numbers and go, here you go again, now what? And so my suggestion would be to do what you've done before, for sure, which is to express how the commission's vote is on this and their goals and objectives with this project as it's, demonstrated, and to express that to council when they review this item, which at this time is not even on the agenda yet, because I think we're still ironing out that detail. Exactly how much money is this gonna cost, and for which pieces, and do we agree with the design build firm? There's a lot of going back and forth on our end.
So having those numbers kind of set before you present it to.
Yeah, we don't wanna bring something that's not complete yet.
Yeah.
It has to be finalized from our end.
Yeah, okay, good. That was my next question. Like when, because I was just there, we were present in July, to kind of push forth our support for the project, but we don't want to keep showing up if really there's no drive or there's no need to yet in front of council. We'd like to also have kind of specifics, like specific things that we can do to help with the project.
I can tell you one councilman's opinion. And it's a councilman who's up for election and could totally lose and not be your problem. But I'm not gonna pre-vote on anything. But some of the concerns that I've had are there's a large percentage of people who feel that the pool that's been proposed is not going to be sufficient for the need as it is. And so if we diminish the size of that pool, then from my perspective, is that worth the expense? That because the expense will still be huge for a city the size of Snoqualmie. And if we reduce the size of the project, is it going to be worth expending all of that capital on a project that is going to be insufficient for the need? From my perspective, the only place you get the kind of big numbers that we're looking at is if somebody in our town wins the Powerball, which is possible but unlikely, or you get it from a county or state. And in order for us to get that kind of funding from county or state, it's gonna have to be in partnership with our regional partners, or Benfall City, Snoqualmie Tribe, Sideview Parks. We're gonna have to have some kind of coalition. Personally, I feel like Mayor Pro Tem's instinct to nominate somebody to that commission is our best chance of getting a pool in this part of the valley. And so that would be the most real, if you want to get a pool that's gonna serve our need, I think the most realistic avenue to that is getting behind that coalition.
Is a third option, not potentially, I mean,
The third option was the Powerball, I mentioned
well,
that.
oh, I thought that was the first option. I was thinking going back out to the voters.
So
People at all.
I feel like that is always on the table. I think going to the voters is always a great way to go. This particular bonding a pool has gone to the voters 3 times in the past. And has failed each time. But I don't have a problem with going back to the voters about everything. I think that and I think our voters have shown that they are willing to pay extra for things that are important to them.
Do you recall what the percentage was on the last?
Well, one of the points that's made by people who are in favor of that is that the percentages have gone up over the 3 votes. I think it went from like 52 to 54 to 58%.
Requires a majority, yeah, 60%.
You gotta have a supermajority.
It has to be a supermajority, so 60% in like a high election volume, so it'd have to be probably August or November.
Now, there hasn't been one of those votes in 9 years, something like that, 8 or 9 years. So. It may be that attitudes have changed about that. I'm a huge fan of going to voters on this kind of thing. But the idea of a councilmanic bond where we just say. I mean, from my perspective, it would be me saying, well, yeah, the voters have spoken on this 3 times, but they keep getting it wrong, so we're gonna go ahead and bond it. That feels like a dereliction of duty.
Sounds like next year would be an opportunity with it being the midterms and knowing that more voters would be coming out in November, and then you add on. You know, individuals who would not be paying for it, such as people who are living in apartments or renters. Or individuals who are younger, living at home, that wouldn't be paying into the bond, if that makes sense. Yes.
I don't know that they wouldn't be paying into the bond, they'd be paying into the bond indirectly.
Yeah.
By increased rents or whatever, but yeah, their participation would exist and would have to be recognized because.
Yeah.
They would also have rights to the use of the facility as well, so I wouldn't characterize them that way, but you would have to get 6 out of 10 voters to say, yes, we wanna spend this money. And I believe you'd also be doing it while saying, we recognize that by doing this particular project, this particular way, we are giving up the chance of getting regional funding to help us with it. So, those are my views on it. Again, I am one councilman that might be here for a few more months, so, you know, you might not even have to worry about my opinion.
Can I ask a question to the room if anyone knows how to answer it? This commission is tried to be as creative as we can, harness our skill sets to the effect of trying to come up with ideas to City Hall on fundraising. Has there been any traction on any of that we know of? Fundraising outside of grants, and I've stood in front of the council and spoken to it a couple times, and Lori has as well.
Are you talking specifically towards the pool?
Towards the pool project, yeah, like the silent auctions and.
I have not heard of any progress on any of that.
There hasn't been a silent
Rec
auction.
program.
I think there's consideration for BRIC and their community block grant efforts. BRIC is a piece of that program. And I know this, we definitely review it, because
Is that an acronym?
brick, yeah, I don't know what it is.
I'm not gonna talk about
I mean,
actual
selling
bricks.
bricks
People
like
on
making bricks with
Now I
their
have
names
done
on
the
it.
idea of like putting like a tile of a fish on the inside of.
I think the issue is that these are small dollar ideas. They're not ideas that are gonna generate the millions of dollars that we would need to make the project happen in the amount of time that that it would take to get it done.
Is that your opinion or has that been part of a
That is
discussion?
absolutely my opinion. That is
Sure.
not based
Okay.
on any kind of.
Okay.
You can't expect anything that I say to be based on any kind of expertise or real knowledge.
Fair enough.
Sometimes,
You
none of it.
you can go ahead and try.
So if I'm understanding the response I'm hearing correctly, nothing has gone in front of staff with efforts to that effect. Assist.
I have not heard about anything to do with that.
Those would also be heavy lifts for staff to take on.
Yeah.
In addition to, you know.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out if there's crickets or not. So you answered my question.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Heather?
As far as I'm aware, that it's been directed to initiate that program.
Ethan,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
It's gonna sound pointed, but
Don't worry, you're not gonna offend me.
all right,
Yeah.
put you in a headlock and that. And maybe you can speak to it, maybe you can, regarding the councilmanic concern.
Mhm.
Am I understanding correctly, for the sake of argument, trying to follow facts or achieve facts here, do I understand correctly that City Hall was built in part on councilmanic bonds?
I wasn't on the council at that time. I don't remember.
I can tell you what a councilmanic bond looks like, maybe if that clarifies what's going on.
I know what that is and mostly what it looks like. I'm just trying to figure out if this building was built on a councilmanic bond. Because if it was, then
Entirely.
that might change the focus a little bit on, arguments for or against the effort in case it's laid at your feet at some point to render a vote on that.
Well,
So
again, my concern about a councilmanic bond is in the optics of passing a bond. Passing a councilmanic bond. When a bond has already been put to the voters numerous times and has failed. That's the part that I wouldn't be able to get past personally, just philosophically, if the voters say no, 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 and then the council says in a 4-3 vote, yes. That would be, I would definitely be one of the no votes on that, just because it would feel to me like I would be thumbing my nose to voters who have already said, no, no, no. Does that make sense?
sure, I mean, a decade-ish ago, but. So that's a little bit gray area.
Which is an argument that is often made, but my counter to that is, well, why hasn't it come up again? If it's something that the voters want, let them do it. I would not, you would get no complaint from me as a council person if there was a bond put forward to voters and the voters said, yes, this is important enough that we want to bond it.
The 9 years, I do think it's important to remember that COVID was right in the middle of that, and that a lot of conversations that happened or were happening at that time ended for quite some time. And so although it's been 9 years, hasn't exactly been 9 years. It's and so what that looks like when we come back to voters, and the community center project and partnership with the Y has always been a bit of a challenge in getting the voters to support. And so I think, we continue to have that same challenge that we had early on with even getting to the community center build. And what were the barriers in that, and what are the barriers now to moving forward? And
Right.
so, and I think it's really challenging to get a clear idea on what those barriers really are, why people say no, and it's really even harder than asking and hearing is listening to what is the no?
And I think part of it is a misunderstanding of the YMCA and the service that the YMCA provides to our city. There's a gut level response to that I've encountered from people who say, why am I gonna pay all this money for the YMCA to have a pool? And there's not a strong enough understanding among the electorate to recognize the service that's provided by the YMCA in their operation of the community center. That community center belongs to the city of Snoqualmie. It's operated by the Y, and they take on all the expense of operating it. And when they take a loss, as they did through COVID, massive losses, $200,000 a year for several years, they don't present a bill to Snoqualmie. That's the YMCA.
Operating losses.
That's an operating loss that the city of Snoqualmie doesn't have to pay. There's also a lot of services that the YMCA does for the community that are huge. And so but regardless, a lot of people don't see that, and they don't recognize the value that the YMCA has provided to the city. And so that's a huge roadblock to that partnership, is this idea that there's this private organization that we're going to gift public funds. That's not really a fair, characterization of.
That we as
of that
residents
project.
then have to pay monthly in order to use what should be.
Yeah,
a
so that community
accessible.
center, I think that's what I encounter and what I've experienced is we pay for this facility to exist, but then we have to pay to access it, and not a small amount.
And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It's, when I've considered potentially joining a
Yeah.
gym, and I've seen the cost of.
Yeah.
And they provide all sorts of opportunities for financial aid if you can't afford it and all that, but at the same time, I look at it and I say, well, I can't afford that, and I wouldn't even consider asking for financial aid to do it. So there's a lot of those kind of internal things that go on in people that I think work against the YMCA, even though it's not really the YMCA's fault. And the service that they provide to Snoqualmie is huge. So I think there's just a whole lot of dice that can come up the wrong way for people to.
Well, if you put it on the ballot, a lot of it is how you write out the ballot. Like when we were looking at the contract with North Bend, not to bring up anything going on now, but at the time that we had that on the ballot for the police department, the services out there, Mayor Larson at the time had a couple of open houses. And I raised my hand, I said, have you looked at the way this reads? This has the appearance that local residents here in Snoqualmie are going to be funding this staff that are dedicated to Snoqualmie to go out to North Bend, which was not the case. And so they had to word it in such a way that that was clear, and I think that's one of the reasons that it passed. So a lot of it has to do with calling out some of those concerns and how that is worded.
Yeah.
What, out of curiosity, who makes the frog jump in terms of the idea of that going back to the ballot? Is that a
I was wondering that too.
administration
How does
thing,
that get presented?
or is that a council triggered thing, or?
Yeah, there's definitely, there's an expense involved with putting something on the ballot like that. It would take significant money to get a ballot manager on. I think that the reason that it hasn't come up was, I think part of the reason that it hasn't come up is the concern that it'd be the fourth time. Voters say no, and, I think the idea was to try to figure out how to do this with the funds we have available, bring in regional funds as well, and that didn't pan out the way we hoped. We hoped that we'd get that $4 million from the county. If we'd gotten that $4 million from the county, I think our conversation would be very much different.
Yeah, it's really too bad that, and I know I come from a place of, I'm expressing frustration here. Because I've been on this commission for 11 years now, and I mean, Sammamish can figure it out, Sumner can figure it out. Kent can figure it out, but for some reason, not nonplussed on how we can't figure it out. And I look at the staff time that has gone into the open houses, the community outreach and the surveys, and just can't push the rock over the hill. So I just, I for one wants to go down swinging until I'm 6 feet under on this topic, but
I don't know that that has to be the course. I think the idea of partnering with our regional partners is a very promising possibility. I don't actually see it happening another way.
well, we've tried that already, haven't we?
No,
On that road?
I don't think we have. No, I think we've always wanted to have our own pool here. I don't know that, I don't think that we have worked here. We haven't.
Or if we tried it hit a false start, maybe.
Well, you know, this alliance is, this coalition's going, and we aren't currently represented on it.
Yeah.
I do believe part of the responsibility of that lies with them, not asking us to, but I think at least as much of the responsibility falls on us for not asking. So I think that the idea of getting somebody on that group would be really good for Snoqualmie. And really good for that group, because they're not gonna get regional money without the region being represented.
Yeah, especially with their central location.
And half the kids in the area live in Snoqualmie, so. And kids always come up big in these conversations.
Yeah.
So you can look at it, but we've been butting our heads up against something, but maybe it's just an opening to something that's actually gonna fit the community better than something that's channeled through the why. If the why is a stumbling block for a lot of people.
I don't know that that's not the right location.
Yeah.
For a region, but we just need to reimagine. I mean, that could still be the right location for it, but it needs to be a regional discussion. So hopefully we can get a group together that doesn't have a whole lot of partners saying, well, this is a non-starter if you go in with that kind of mentality, then I think it's gonna be difficult to be successful.
I was not in the earlier iteration of this, when it was an initial multi-community, conversation, but my understanding is that the location was the factor that kind of pulled people away from having a mutual conversation.
People outside of something.
No, I don't wanna like point fingers, it was just kind of like, there wasn't a lot of willingness to compromise on that, so there weren't many other conversations to have if there weren't, if that made it a non-starter. So if that makes it a non-starter again, it may, again, especially since that group has been working without us at the table. It may be another challenge to have a bigger conversation without anybody being married to a specific location, or with finding a compromise on that relatively early. So I know that has been, well, it is my understanding that that has been a really challenging part of the conversation for everyone. And so I hope that that's a hurdle we can find a solution to, because honestly, and this has gone up since I've looked at the numbers, it could be a completely different thing, because as we know, prices have changed and all the things, but I'm not sure how successful either group can be on their own. And if one gets built, the chances of there being resources for the other are very low. So working together to form something maybe that meets needs that weren't already in the plan, but is at a location that we don't love, like being able to talk through all the parts and not stopping at the first question might be really essential.
And you're right.
Okay, well, that seems positive. And all other doors are shutting. Seems like at least that's, I guess not shutting, they're just waiting to see. I'm excited about that.
I want to thank the staff for the time they put into this. You put a lot of time and treasure into this. But you're limited by the direction you get or don't get. So
That's the
I
job.
was
Yeah.
hoping to hear more from your end tonight, to be frank, but what you have to present is what you have to present, or, here we are, and I don't know what, I'm beyond disappointed about where this whole thing is at right now. Pretty hot off about the whole thing, but I'll get over myself and we'll figure out how to move forward, I guess.
Well, I'm from Missouri and lived in California. So when we came up here and looked at the town, it didn't occur to me to even see if there was a pool. Like, of course there's a pool, right? And so just being here for all these years and watching it not move forward. It's a huge public safety issue. It's a huge, it's a huge community issue, having place during the summer. Like, we all think about lessons and exercise classes, but pools are gathering places as
Big
well.
time.
And so,
Make new friends.
and
I've been making new friends at the Sammamish pool. I don't make them here.
Right.
But I make them at the Sammamish pool.
And so I really do think that there are a lot of reasons that we all really want to see a pool happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can't believe that it's been a long time.
Yeah, I just wanna say one thing we didn't say earlier though, and we, during COVID, and I was supporting the administration closely, and I do believe that Mayor Matt Larson, in his last term, this was one of his goals, and a pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And he had to come to the realization that the priority was to keep the city afloat, not to use a pun. And that was a difficult decision for him to make. I vividly remember sitting in a meeting where he said that. So, for 2-3 years as a city, we were focused on providing services, basic services for this community, trying to keep staff. We lost staff, trying to bring staff back. Like,
Right.
that was the focus, a pandemic. The focus was keeping the Y afloat,
Small businesses.
small businesses, we had CARES money that we gave to businesses, CARES money that we gave to the Y. Then we had ARPA money. I mean, these things were our focus to keep our city solvent and to keep our city going. So there was 2-3 years where we did lose some time on this. It just became kind of a non-issue, like they were prioritizing.
And I don't know of an agency or organization, school district included, where there weren't a lot of things that were, I'm not really gaining momentum, that just
Right.
stopped. And it was a few years before those conversations could be.
We
Revisited.
legitimately, as a city, we're trying to keep Mount Si from being finished and legitimately trying to keep Snow King finished. Snow King was 1 to 2 weeks away from literally losing all the progress and shutting down because they had a vendor coming in to put the ice, and this man had been on the schedule for years and the governor had shut us down. I mean,
Right.
that's where we got. That was Matt Larson calling the governor at the time and saying, please open up construction with this, you know, with some of these projects. Like, that's how dire we were at the time, you know, trying to keep our 2 biggest projects going. And Snow King at the time, and has since, we view that as like our anchor to the ridge of what that brings in for economic development, and the Railroad Museum downtown for the ridge. Like, those were our priorities at the time, and small businesses. And we really came out of the pandemic. Sorry, I'm on my pulpit here, but I was just right in it. But we came out of the pandemic pretty unscathed, you know, and we kept almost all small businesses going, you know, despite everything that was going on around us, and we were in a good position.
And again, I'm expressing frustration that's not aimed at staff or
Right.
anyone else in this room, not even at you, although I'll see you after the meeting. Just kidding. And I don't usually,
Well, Paul,
I'm not
also
doing.
to come in today for expecting, you know, you're disappointed with what you got. Please understand that when we got the information from the county, I believe that was in August,
Yeah.
and that was a time where was an opportunity. We had meetings that we canceled. It's the summer break. Several key staff members were on vacation, leadership was on vacation. So there were some things going on behind the scenes for those that were working here. The whole city didn't shut down for 2 weeks in August, but you know, there were some things that were happening that we weren't able to come to you tonight with a proper update, because we just came back from, you know, a couple of weeks of summer, and this brand news happening at the time.
Yeah.
So timing is kind of everything.
Well, again, I appreciate the effort of the staff, City Hall.
Well, I want to respond to what you said. Thank you for saying that. I don't do well accepting praise on behalf of others. Like, I want to say who those people are. And I want to mention that Patrick Fry has worked really hard on this. And so Patrick has been involved in the grant application, which I know you were as well.
It was Dana.
And then also Pat has been in charge of sorting out those alternatives, coming up with pricing and so on. So that's the work that staff has been doing in the background. And so I apologize that it wasn't what you wanted to see, but that's what's occurred and that's who's been doing it, just so you know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I just have one final thought in terms of next steps. If council does decide to even explore the idea of going out for a bond again, would you also consider doing polling, just knowing that it has been so long and perception may have changed either way? I mean, even just coming from my personal job capacity and what I do around levies and bonds, knowing that there have been so many taxes that have gone forth in the last year and are just down the road in the next year. I just think it's a good idea to do some type of polling, which I know that does cost money though.
Yeah, and you also have to be really careful with polling. And it's like what Paul was saying about how you write the poll,
Oh, yeah.
in order to get the most accurate kind of answers. We did a lot of polling with this project. As a city, I didn't always think poll questions.
Yeah. I
Honestly.
answer them.
Yeah, yeah, I think polling is really, really important, and doing realistic polling is difficult and important. So the point is valid.
I guess I want to have a more concrete, sometimes set of numbers or knowing, kind of anticipating what those could be, and it sounds like those are changing quite a bit annually.
The choices are there too, so
Yeah.
the cost is changing. A council and a bond actually isn't a new tax. It's a shrinking of what is already collected's usability is. But a levy then would increase it, we have the levy would cover the cost of the bonds, debt servicing, that's generally how that structured. And so without all these numbers, it's. I can't give you anything, you can ask me like, how much will a cosmetic bond of, pick a number, cost, and I go, I can tell you it's this, but I have no idea how that even relates to our project, really, it's too many things are moving. Basically, you need to see the whole picture all at once, and then you can step backwards and make the.
Real of it,
And
what
it's-
it is,
Yeah,
what it costs
that's-
now, what it might cost 6 months.
And that's why our job is to give you, or to give council, every citizens by proxy, here's the picture. And the choices are now based around this picture, and there are a lot of levers to pull. They can make it bigger, smaller, really quick.
Thank you.
I'll just mention that there was a community survey that was just done, and there was a question or two in that survey that related to the poll. And there was valid questions in terms of polling. And that survey is on the city's website, and you can access that, and look at that. And it, from what I recall, I don't have the numbers in mind, there was a mix, right? So there were a large proportion that were not in support and a large proportion that were in support, so there wasn't much middle ground. If I recall, but
It's the
you can check
strategic
that out.
plan, it's on the strategic plan page.
Yeah, so it's the strategic plan and then strategic plan will be the community survey, a little bit less than 2 years when we did it before, but. Yeah,
It's fresh. the community
It's
survey
fresh.
just happened.
Okay.
It's interesting that you mentioned not a lot of in between. I've noticed that on lots of surveys lately where 5 years ago you would have had kind of a chunk in the middle. Those middle chunks are have picked a side. And it varies which side they're on, but there's very little of that middle ground on anything. So
6 and 12.
Anyway,
I'll take a look there.
survey exists.
Thank you.
all right, so Dylan, on my next, maybe that's a good question, we'll see.
Okay.
So with CETA, what do you anticipate, what does the department anticipate for presenting kind of numbers to the council on all the information you guys are collecting?
Not sure, actually, this is a bit of a great spot for us. I think our goal is to bring something to the next council meeting. But that is probably gonna be a bit of a steep ask, it's more of an informational session. To prepare council that there's going to be a deep amount of information to unpack at the following meeting. So I would not anticipate this next council meeting, one that's in 2 weeks from yesterday, but rather the one that's
A month
some
from-
amount of days after that. Call it 4 weeks, but it's not literally because there's a cross in the months. The second Monday,
In October,
yes,
all right,
would be when I would expect to see something coming.
all right, any other comments or questions, commissioners on expansion project? All right, so guys can breathe a sigh of relief, and we move on to our next regular business item. Which is the fall ad hoc tour. And YouTube, this might be kind of new news, although if you watch the minutes from last time, you'll have an idea of what we're talking about. But we were talking to Jeff about having actually call it an ad hoc tour, we call it a field trip. Something that where the commission goes out and looks, go piggybacking off of the pros plan. And
I have to
kind
go,
of,
so sorry.
52, thanks for those hot
Yeah.
dogs.
Take care.
That was great. Master griller. Anyway, taking off like maybe the first 3 or first 5 kind of playgrounds in the area. And getting kind of our eyes on them and seeing what needs to happen with those, right? And also looking at the potential for cricket field FEMA, where you guys are in that project, and the potential dog park, at Stellar Park, or just seeing kind of exactly what that looks like and adding our input there. If this is something that makes sense, if this is something that we can get more hands on with and help as needed.
Yeah, so I love Midfield, so to speak, and I think it's great to be actually at a site and get what we're talking about. Sometimes I could tell you park names, but if you don't live in the area, why would you go to that park, and why do you see the necessity? Obviously, we did the report, to get you there, but I think it's good to go out there and see. And then one of the things I'd like to package that with is some companies, well, companies, but they're manufacturers of play equipment. Like, we kind of have like a relationship with them, we can ask for. Okay, here's a model, here's a version of, they gathered up this set of equipment together, you know, it's all the same color coded idea. And can kind of showcase it on site, so I've been working on that. Yes, so this is possible and should be done, I would say. Pull me out of the cricket field thing, but I just take us to a couple of the things that the pro plan calls out in the next few years. Otherwise, we might get a little too steamed in terms of how many things we wanna go look at.
Could be a good walking tour. We could get a little exercise and we could hit.
We need to
playground-
wood cellar, easy.
The playgrounds that we're
Silent
talking
Creek
about
stuff.
replacing, but then also we could visit parks that are actually gonna go away. That's part of the use.
Yeah.
Yes, so Silent Creek, Cottonwood, Stellar, we could definitely, those aren't that far. We could definitely meet at one. And that actually hits about three programs. Three programs that have been an operations budget, I guess, but yeah, all caught out in the first time, so. Staying certain,
You could actually go to Stellar as part of that too, because Stellar isn't far from Cottonwood.
We go down the South Trail.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yes.
Is that the trail lanes? Was that by the Cowboys?
Yeah, but and there's Stellar and the Silent Creek Park that they're talking about, there's a little trail there.
Yeah.
Silent Creek.
Great.
Easy.
Okay,
We'll get
so
back to Cottonwood, so.
I love this idea. It sounds like we're all on board with that. To kind of get it more set in stone, what are some dates? Thing that pops up to me that makes the most sense would be the second, what day is this? Tuesday, second Tuesday of October. So before our next planned meeting, which is in November, just going off with weather, right? I don't know if we want to be traipsing around at like 5 p.m. in December. And I don't know if we want to take up our whole meeting on a field trip in November. So
Oh, were you thinking evening? I was thinking this would be during staff hours, like during the day.
Oh, that could be.
We can be flexible, I can be
Okay.
flexible, and I will know everything except for the cricket field, so.
I figured out, I mean, I work full time, but
Okay.
which I don't know if anybody else does, but
I'm flexible Friday, Monday.
there's a realize.
You were thinking October then?
That was just me throwing out that a regular meeting time, we're just kind of sticking it in. month in between. Probably better in October than pushing it into November and December.
What about
Was that-
September?
Doing it sooner?
The weather is good more now than it will be guaranteed in October. And distinctly in November.
If that's enough time for you guys, I didn't wanna kind of.
I'm already aware of all
like,
projects.
be ready.
I kind of know what our limitations have to be, and the pros plan gave us the marching orders, so to speak, in the dollar figures. But what the realities are of the place is kind of where we have some options and opportunities. So, I mean. What I mean to say is, if you put a dog park in Stellar, it can't go everywhere, it has to go somewhere, and I pretty much know, I think, where that somewhere is gonna be, but there's gonna be some take and give with that. And we have limitations on how to redo the surfacing of a playground, and we have so many surfacing techniques, they work. We're in a bunch of stuff. So what I wanna do is I wanna take you there,
Yeah.
and then I wanna walk you through how we get to these decisions as a staff. And kind of why I'm gonna give you here's why we don't have a whole lot of, heck of a lot of choices here, or here's where some real fun can happen, with our options. And I think that's the best.
I wanna make sure that this is a worthy use of your time, as
I
staff.
already think it is, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
great. It's not just you kind of reiterating, this is what we're going to do. It's more like, what do you guys think of this?
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Yep, it will be that,
Alright,
some
yeah.
things will be parts one way, some things will be other, we're gonna go travel a couple parks and a couple things.
By being open to it, we are helping him help us help him,
Yep, yeah,
right?
I think the
Did I get that right?
for sure.
Yeah,
I think the opportunity too is, on that walk, we can see a lot of what we're looking at doing with capital stuff in the next couple of years. So it really centers in on stuff that Frost identified and where a lot of change will happen. So I think it would be a benefit for you to see that and to understand that and be part of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't always need to get sat down and treated like it's a hearing on a proposal I'm making, rather we go out there, make sure the nudges and start going, it
Yep.
makes sense.
Love it.
More of a, let's call it a community engagement opportunity for me. rather than you're deciding on the proposal I'm bringing to you as a budget like I would for council.
Right.
And this does happen for council too, we go out to project sites, taking them on tours of projects that are about to be developed. So this
So
is
spots
reasonable.
we like to hear
Yep.
our thoughts and spots where it's like, this is not really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you all represent the communities like leaders of this information,
Yeah.
right? So when you are living your lives and interacting with people asking you what's going on with the city of Snoqualmie. We've created a moment to give you that space and to get the most updated as you can be with what we are aware of. So I think it's great all around.
And throw a few shapes your direction that maybe you haven't considered.
Exactly, yep.
So I used to, when I was a planner, I said the best idea is the person in the back of the room who didn't want to speak up or was too shy, so.
Yeah.
You think the second half of this month? Should we target some days?
And we're gonna go after
30th.
hours, is that still correct?
The earliest I can probably do it, usually not every night, but sometimes 4. Usually September 30th. That's soon enough. 3 weeks.
I'm out of town on that. Ideally, I would like to be there.
Another date.
How about Tuesday, September 23rd? Would that be?
Does anybody celebrate?
So,
It's public works committee, isn't it?
no, because that
How do you go to the
is-
months?
That's the 16th,
Oh, okay, yeah,
and this is the following week, so it would be open, this would be a council week on the
Yep.
22nd.
should be fine.
Do you have, anyone, we're mentioning a holiday?
Yeah, it's right around there. If anybody celebrates it, that works for me. I just-
works for you.
It only works for me if it's earlier. Right.
That might be
Better for me too.
What time?
Maybe 3:30.
Is that the earliest you could be?
I could leave work early, like take time off.
Oh, no, I didn't mean like you should, I just meant like. are
I
you-
could probably. It's a childcare issue, the later I go,
Okay,
and my husband has something going on, so
But it's 4 o'clock is a,
potentially, if I'm trying to get out there a little earlier, I could do 2:30.
I could do 2:30 that day. I have a 4 o'clock that day, although I actually got kids.
totally booked that day.
So I didn't have for you.
I'm daytime booked entirely, I can be
Okay.
after work,
I
but
could start anytime after
what time
lunch that day.
would you?
I'm booked from 8 to 4.
Oh, okay.
What about Monday that week? Does anybody?
So it's a council meeting for us.
I could do Wednesday.
Suggestion, what if we send
Sure,
out a
Google.
Google Calendar?
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't spend our meeting time doing that, yeah.
I wanna.
How much of a,
The problem, yeah, as long as it's not, I'm sure it's sending it to all of us all at once, right? You have to send it to everybody individually.
You can send it to all of you guys, but then you don't reply to all.
Oh,
You
okay.
reply to
well, yeah, we just click on it.
You're gonna answer.
Okay, great, yeah.
You're not gonna reply all the time.
Yep, we'll do
And we will CC.
Except for my secret
That's great,
messages.
thank you. We'll figure it out.
What window of time do you think?
They need
is
2 hours.
2 hours,
Yeah,
okay,
I think we'll need at least 2 hours. I don't think we're gonna spend tons of time talking about each big thing, but I'd like the 2
Okay.
hours, as generally speaking, when I've been walking tours and site visits to things.
enough to make it meaningful.
Yep, and I
Yeah.
think if it's reasonable, if we all just meet at like Stellar.
Yeah.
We're not gonna meet here.
Great,
It's
no,
all up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Tentatively, for me, Wednesday looks good.
which Wednesday, sorry?
The 24th.
Great.
I have to be in Monroe. Actually, wait. I have to be in Kirkland at 5:30 that evening, so I wouldn't.
So,
Well, this is where the.
Yep, this is where the calendar comes in.
What I'll do is I'll send out a lot of options, then we'll figure it out.
And-
Okay,
and
thanks, guys.
great.
We can even go into, September 29th is a Monday. Into the 3rd of October,
So
Well, maybe
Monday.
he's like
It's a
out of
fifth.
town.
oh, that's when he's.
right,
I'm not gonna break the deal, right? Like if there's a time that works for everybody else, then we'll go with that. But I will send out a range of options and I'm gonna go into October as well, just to make sure we have enough options.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Okay.
Since that's 3 full weeks to work with.
Okay, well, great, guys, I'm glad you're.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you.
Good idea.
Yeah, it'll be parks, trails.
Mhm.
Trails,
Playgrounds.
playgrounds, playground surface replacements. dog parks is on a parks and rec, but yes, yeah. And we'll give you a big picture of all those things. That's a big chunk of our parks efforts, actually.
Okay.
Not gonna be sports courts replacement, but I think that's.
Can we agree rain or shine, so rain jackets and
Sure.
Yeah.
sturdy shoes?
Headlights, headlamps,
Headlamps.
just walk around in the
Yeah.
dark. We meet there at 8:30 at night, mid-October.
Chair, I have an update on cricket. I know that
Yeah.
we're not gonna be able to get to that on the tour. But an update from working with them.
Yeah, so we good to hear.
Oh, good.
So we have some really passionate folks in the community, you know, that are, I guess, driving cricket, not just in the region, but nationally. So we have, Vikrant, whose last name I forget, and Kesh, whose last name I also forget, who I've been working with from the Snoqualmie Wolves. And they are very passionate about youth cricket in the community, and they are working cross jurisdictions to have basically cricket pitches and facilities. So they've been involved with Tollgate Farm, with Sideview Metropolitan Lodge. There's 2 cricket pitches out there. Those are the only clay pitches in the Northwest. It's really difficult. I'm from England, so I understand cricket a little bit. I used to watch it as a kid and I played it, but basically it's so different, right, than the sports that we're used to. Big differences are the ball bounces basically every time that the batsman receives, like it's going to bounce. So the playing surface is really important. Most playing surfaces worldwide are clay. Clay in the Northwest is absolutely, it's so difficult to maintain that. And I think that's why the Tollgate Farms have the clay pitches, and they're the only ones. It costs a couple $100,000 a year to maintain those, which the cricket leagues pay for. Most of what's happening in this region is concrete pitches that have basically carpet laid on top of them as a playing surface. One was just recently installed at the elementary school, and I walked with Vikrant to see that earlier this week, actually. No, that was last week. The weeks flowing together. But what that looks like is on a baseball field or soccer field or football field, there is a rectangle that is about 15 to 20 feet wide by 120 feet long. That is a concrete pad, and it's at grade, so it's pretty much flat with the surface, very close to the surface of the existing field. And then a carpet is adhered to the top of that, and that provides the consistency of bounce that cricketers need. Through conversations with this group, and they're extremely knowledgeable about this, and they're regionally involved in it, they know, they kind of know how this goes. We rapidly narrowed down options that there's really only one place in our existing real estate that we can go, and that's Centennial Fields. Smaller parks like Stellar, which I know we're talking about a dog park for there too, the pop-up dog park, but Stellar is just too small, right? Like we can't, unless we construct cages, right, batting cages, we can't really use a park of that size. We also looked at Riverview because there's an open, grassy lawn next to Riverview that doesn't get a lot of use right now.
Yeah.
It's not big enough. It's just not big enough. So what we've done is we've been out to Centennial Fields, and we actually mapped out what a cricket pitch would look like in relationship to the other users. So there's 3 baseball fields, and there is a football field that is now being used more by rugby. And what we did is we placed the field, and we drew paint lines, and we did drone imagery to see what like from above, and then we've rendered a map of that. So we're making progress. The challenge now is going to be, how does this fit with existing users? How do we give cricket a meaningful spot without booting other people who've got long-standing relationships and like have been long-standing users of our fields off? Because there is in our code, in our municipal code, there is a priority order of who gets priority and why that we have to follow. I'm not saying that can't be changed. I'm just saying that's what it is, and that's what we have to stay in right now.
When you send out a poll, can you send us what that looks like?
Yeah, sure.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. And so our next task is to look at basically the scheduling that we have annually, and figure out when are the time windows where we can slot that in. That's one step. Second step is we need to coordinate with those other user groups. Like, I don't want to plonk a cricket field in the middle of fields that are beloved and used by other user groups and not talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Right? And so, for instance, you know, our original idea was to put it on the football field that is really no longer being rented for football. That's in the back right hand corner of Centennial Fields. However, rugby now use that, and with the nature of rugby, you don't want to be tackled on a concrete pad, like you're going to get hurt. That doesn't work, right? So we're being kind of slow and deliberate, and that's actually an agreement in our approach between us as city staff and the representatives of the cricket, you know, the cricket group. We just agreed, let's take this slow. Let's go down all these avenues of investigation so that we come to a good place, rather than rushing something, overlooking something, and then having a failure, irritating another user group, right? Impacting their experience. So I think there's a fair chance we can make this work at Centennial, but we're months away from pouring a cricket pitch. You know, we're not there yet. And the other thing that we have to work out is how costs are going to work on that. I don't have direction from city administration yet on what their approach is there, but you know, it could be one of three things, right? Snoqualmie, the city pays and recovers costs through user fees. That would be one. The Cricket Association pays for the, you know, the infrastructure, or it's meet in the middle. So I think it's one of those three options. There could be external funding too, there could be grants, I don't know. But we're making ground, we're making progress. We at least now know that it's going to work at Centennial Fields or nowhere in our existing system.
Yeah.
And that's by mutual agreement. That's not me saying to them, no, it's not going to work. It's actually more them saying, no, it essentially wouldn't work for us. So Jeannie Hansen was part of that exploration. Right now, we don't want to do that, Jeannie Hansen. I wish there were more real estate in Snoqualmie where we could actually just build a facility from scratch, because it does feel challenging to, our park system is, and you know, it feels challenging to sort through, you know, the other users' needs as well and make this happen. We're working on it. I don't think we have 30 times of success.
Sorry, I realized you were still thinking.
No worries.
I am curious about a couple of things, but first I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
For stepping through all of that process with them and working closely with them and really taking seriously the value that a cricket field has for our community as it is now.
Yeah.
And so just thank you so much for being so thoughtful and so diligent and working with them.
Yep.
Then the other, but I also am wondering, I know over time we have set up a lot of our fields under contract and under financial partnerships with other organizations like Little League and, you know, soccer, and are the fields at Centennial location limited in that way, or is it that we want to be thoughtful about making large changes?
I don't believe that we're contractually obligated. There's some of the invested money in the fields.
Okay.
We are obligated in the way our code describes who gets priority and why.
Right.
But we are obligated then.
I'm very interested in seeing what that looks like.
Yeah.
Is it in the municipal code on
It's
the
in the
website?
municipal code.
You don't have to even wait
Oh,
for
I
Code to
can
tell you,
wait.
if you go on the website, you just do Snoqualmie municipal code, and then you can start to click on it's probably under parks.
I'll send it. Yeah. I'll send it.
I'm like, yeah.
Which church or something.
Yeah.
Just like poking around tonight, Renee.
Okay.
Park
Spend a
reservation,
couple
search
hours
that
in
and
the
it'll be fine.
municipal
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, I will poke around and look, but so if you send us.
One other thing that I forgot to mention that I think is an important detail is cricketers have specific needs around the grass, because again, the ball is traveling on the ground a lot of times when it goes, so very different than baseball in a lot of ways. And so they have ideals, right? Cricketers have ideals they want, and the ideal would be we would rip out you know, thousands of square feet of grass and plant a totally different type of grass, have a different maintenance schedule than the other fields. That's where we have to find that middle ground, and they completely understand that. Our parks department, especially Nicole and I have been talking about a lot this summer, it's under a lot of pressure staffing wise with the things that have been added, such as the splash pad, right? That we did not receive more staff to run that splash pad. And it's 3 hours a day. And so what we're doing right now with our park staff is we're filling all the holes that the water's coming in the vessel, but then another one appears, so we pull a finger out, we go over there, then water's coming in where we just took it out. This is a concern, and this is something we're working on internally and through future budgets, but again, that's a challenge we're working through with cricket is, can we maintain this in a way that's conducive to you playing? And what does that look like too? What does that cost?
Right. Yeah, those are all such good questions. I know the people who are working
Mhm.
for that, so I hope that they'll be able to maybe fill some of those holes
Yeah.
that we identify we cannot,
Sure.
if those are. So.
Yeah. Well, they're great to work with. They're really passionate. They've done this before, right? They've worked with multiple jurisdictions to make this happen. So, and I'm finding them to be really reasonable too. Like they're not, they're champions for what they're doing, but they're also realists and they're working with our limitations.
Very strong business people. They
Yeah.
know what they are
That's right.
getting
Yeah, and
into.
they own businesses and so
Yeah.
such as
India.
India Balance. Yeah.
And they've done their due diligence, right? Like they base their nonprofit here, their residents here. These are not people coming from outside the area trying to put their fields. Like they are here, they're residents. Their kids go to this place here, so.
And they want to build something that's really meaningful in our community.
And they want to go the right way, it sounds like.
Yeah, and I don't know anything
Yeah.
about cricket, but Phil does, but from what I can gather, I mean, like one of the gentlemen is like.
He's
Good, like he's like a pro, like if
Yeah.
you use golf as the analogy, like he's like one of the top golfers, like he's one of the top cricket people, and he wants to share that and develop the youth here, so.
And actually, I let them
What, you
know.
laughing at me?
Yeah.
You made an analogy, like imagine they're really good at golf, they're a top golfer, I don't know. You could have put anything in that place, and then it was just fun.
I did let them know that I was coming here to pass on those updates, and Akash said he would love to come and talk to you. So perhaps we can put that on the agenda for the next meeting, and either Vikrant or Akash can come.
We can, we're very pro cricket field.
Yeah, thank you for being so thoughtful with the process.
Yep.
of exploring the fields and then even more bringing something to the youth in the community.
Yeah.
Imagine their delight when Phil could pick up a cricket paddle or whatever, the bat. They were just like, oh my god, you know.
I'm gonna have to teach you what all the terms mean.
It's all right,
I know, it's
I
better
can,
than this.
I can just admire it from afar.
Yeah,
It's endearing when.
I know nothing about cricket except to use the like paddle and you hit the end. It's what you said about the bounce, and that is the extent of my knowledge, other than this group of people is working very thoughtfully to create something very meaningful in our community, and they know what they're doing, and so so that's that's the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'm so
Fair enough.
excited that you do know
Yeah.
and can help with that process.
Okay, great. Thanks, really helpful. All right, guys, next on the agenda is P-Push discussion. I know specifically that this is one of Hadley's interests, Commissioner Everett. So this is about a P-Push for the Old Town of Snoqualmie area. Help me with the neighborhood specifically that she lives in, but she lives.
Green Streets, I think, so.
Yeah,
Got me once at the splash pad.
by it's between the train park and Snoqualmie Elementary.
Wait, she wants one or she wants to have more about the one that's
She's
over here on Silva?
proposing the idea in the region.
Yeah.
Not Silva, she's talking about Green Streets neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so what she brought up to me was a couple options, and that's as far as I'm aware. And so my thought has been to find a location or identify possibilities. They don't have, there's not a ton of lots, it's not like I just land, I'm like, oh, right here, we should put some water lines out here to start watering this. We have historically put them in FEMA lots, which is the nickname is, they get called pea patches. One's over here in Silva, I think it's small because of some
I
trees.
just walked by there yesterday. I didn't even know if it was still in existence,
It's
but
got a very tall cedar right on its sunline,
Yeah.
basically, you know.
it looks like there's people using.
Yeah,
Oh,
and so what I've been thinking about, so this is the best I can give right now, is that as I'm working through projects, I'm thinking about locations. Close enough
What
to.
about Sister City?
I haven't thought about that one, it has an entire municipal plan, it's, what she's talking about is the park, the grass across the street from. the
Right next to our
lot
parking
here.
lot.
And the only reason I mentioned it is that in theory, the city has zoned that for an entire park expansion, a municipal park. Where it
Zoned
actually
it.
has a
I
design.
think the reality of that is, could we put a pea patch there and then.
You can do whatever you want in a sense, but I would not say that the thing is bygone. I mean, nothing's bygone. Zoning has existed for a long time, but the reality is take years.
I'm just saying, it's just sitting there not activated and might sit there not activated.
That's one option. She was mentioning ones over by the, more like the high school, periphery to the high school.
That's what I was just
Yeah, I was
thinking,
just
I'm
thinking
like,
there's a
there
lot of-
are a lot of spaces.
Yeah, so
Big map.
we were talking about,
Next to it, yeah.
so I've thought about Riverview and I've thought about what's gonna be called River Trail Arboretum. The urban forestry team has been planting trees in the, what are FEMA lots across the street from the high school. If you've seen that area, so what we're working on next year is gonna be a trail in there, and I've been thinking of how we might implement a pea patch or a garden, community garden of sorts. And it moves to that arboretum. Feel like they're kind of a pairing, and so, but I don't have a full set of things yet. I'm still working on what that trail's gonna be, and so, step by step. But that's more or less where I'm at, and in theory, we could go with more simple ad hoc things. But that's where I'll get myself into trouble for being like, hey, Parks crew. Go out there and make an entire garden bed system and then have our staff also implement a management of this pea patch to
that's
people who
right.
come in.
On
I'll
that
get-
note,
yeah.
and I don't think you even know this, but we contracted out maintenance, our annual maintenance of the 2 pea patches we have this year because of staffing issues. It was just something. That's something that we're gonna have a contractor to do.
So that's my limitations. I'm trying to find a nice natural progression for this. As I do a bigger capital project, I just include it. Naturally, I find a place for it rather than trying to force our staff to like add this thing on a kind of a more whim territory. But that's because I interact a lot with capital projects. Whereas I don't go telling park staff to do things right. And the priority list. Yeah, so leave it to Phil to get in trouble with park staff, and I try to find an opportunity to give them a project leader on with it, or something that makes sense.
And is that something we could reasonably continue to add spaces and continue contracting? Like add that to the contract of other people, or do we just really crunch staff?
It depends on the will of council to, on both, when it comes to budgets, because. I know, like, my position is I'm gonna be asking for a lot more this next biennium to fund things like the splash pad.
Right.
The river trail that Dylan is mentioning, which is one of those capital projects that requires people to maintain it. Where I stand and the message that I bring, and you know, Nicole and I have talked about this, I see the operations and I see what it takes to maintain it. Everybody, including myself in the past, is really focused on what amazing thing can we build. It has to be maintained by people. If there's no other way. And so, yeah, I think that it makes sense. What Dylan's saying makes a ton of sense because we're incorporating it with the big dollars of capital in the larger project. And then we'll figure out on the front side what maintenance looks like versus just building it and then figuring it out.
Could there be a cost recovery in this contracting it out and the cost of the pea patches?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask.
They should,
Totally.
there should be a
It's
task,
fee
you know.
studies going
Yeah.
on right now, and
Yes.
this is already included.
That's great.
Yeah.
But again, in my opinion, the problem with the ones we have now is that they're rough and they're not great for gardening. So why would you
They're no longer
pay
good
for that?
spots.
Yeah,
because of the conditions.
acidity or the shading, but if I can find a better location, then maybe the fee actually makes sense. to
Yeah,
cover.
if you wanna check out a really cool pea patch,
There's one in Seattle at Magnuson Park and it has an amphitheater next to it. It's
right behind kind of like the School of Dentistry. I went to a little family gathering there and right next to the amphitheater and we walked through the pea patch. It's beautiful. Yeah.
City of Seattle is a cool website on their pea patch.
They have some really cool pea patches.
touches, but yes, finding the location is key and then the maintenance.
It's a good piece.
And
Well, the one up on the ridge, right?
that's private.
Yeah.
It's private, but we do pay for it, like you have to.
Yeah.
put in
ROAs,
fees, and
yeah.
then
The ROA maintains it.
Yeah, and then the people that get the pea patches, they also have to volunteer for the ROA as part of having their. pea patch.
They do, it's not bad. I have a current plot up there,
It's
5 hours.
Great.
Oh, fun.
Now, isn't there a certain level of expectation on folks maintaining their own pea patch quadrant, whatever?
Yes.
There is, we've struggled with that,
Yeah.
because folks haven't, and then, it takes staff time then to hold them accountable. Sometimes we're just like, okay. The agreement was that you were gonna maintain the area, and it was gonna look like this at the end of the season, and then we end up having to do that.
Yeah.
Right, and move on to something else. If they won't maintain.
It's very true, the one on the ridge is like, there's a lot of emails about it, reminders.
Right.
Sometimes I'm like,
And
yeah.
that's a lot of work for us to be on.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
now we're gonna have one of our admin staff sending out constant emails. We're not.
Pull your
No.
wheels back.
I'm gonna say something, I think it's really important to know. We don't mind doing the work, we love the work. But. Actually, I'm gonna say what I think could be like a trap for this commission. Is, and as a staff, right, and how we're interacting. If you hear from us things like, that's a challenge, budget and so on, that's because we have this whole thing, the whole enchilada in our heads, right? All the parks, all the trails. And we know what that looks like with the current staff and budget. So I don't want you to think that I'm being negative or obstructionist in any way. I just have to make you aware of like our end of the bargain. I'm not trying to pour cold water on any idea. I'm just letting you know what the realities are that we face. Those change with support from council and so on. So that we don't decide what the resources are. We're given the resources and then we do the best that we can with them. So I just want to make that clear that I notice sometimes I'm like, I don't want that to come across that we're saying no, that we're saying that's a terrible idea. Ideas are great, right? Visions for improving the park system and the trail system are great. It's just how can we reasonably put that into reality?
We don't wanna let the public down, like, we don't wanna like
Yeah.
overpromise and underdeliver, so we're always trying to manage that, I mean.
I think we see all of that, and it's okay if you guys feel like that's a terrible idea. Like there's definitely maintenance part of something like a pea patch, being like, who would be the one responsible for poking people and being like, keep up with it, or who had to keep the fence fit, like there's so many elements to it, and it's really helpful to have these conversations to see all of the pieces.
Point out fatal flaws for.
If it's helpful to know,
Mhm.
just like I asked you for the list,
Yeah.
if you say there's a barrier, please do. Please do say there's barrier, and then we can begin to look at how malleable that barrier is and how
Sure.
important, if the priority matches that process that it would take to do that. So I am assuming all good things. So as you tell us stuff, I really appreciate the information that you're sharing. And if it is a terrible idea or whatever, please.
Well, I'll never say those words.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
We made people who staff hesitate, right? Then we're like, oh, okay, maybe we can go a different route, or just be like.
But I mean, the other side of it is really just like with the problem and the conversation we had earlier, you're in a position to present to city council as this group what your thoughts are, what your ideas are and priorities are, which can shape their agenda and what they fund to. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the information you bring so that that can be a plan that they don't just go talk to you and then come back to us and say,
Yeah.
that can't work, like this helps us to form a plan that's actually makes sense, so.
Thanks, Robert.
We were all getting ready.
Okay.
So
And I-
that's takeaway, I'm looking at
Yeah, I
it
think
through
that's
the
what we
the
got
capital
for now.
side
Yeah.
and cautiously protecting operations. Actually, no, when I do capital projects, I identify an increase in operations funding to cover it, by the way, so I don't just add it to the list, so.
Yes.
You'd have to,
I have. to
whether we
do
can
it, yeah.
get beat up.
I already do get beat up,
Oh,
and
They have a
Do
villain
lunch.
line item, like they have a weeding line item.
you don't wanna see my
Will you remind me how long you've been here?
6 years.
And will you remind me how long you've been here? You said it, but I 15. So you guys have been partnering for a very long time.
Still enemies, actually.
But keep your enemies close.
Yeah.
Friends close,
With
your
the
enemies
contract.
closer.
Blackberries have me to
That's right, yeah.
get to work volunteer.
Yes, we've extracted a, pound of flesh.
Yeah. That's
There you
right.
go.
Yeah.
Ew.
Okay, you guys, I think we're on to special events. Nicole, thanks for lasting this long.
Yeah.
Meeting.
Am I telling you what I'm looking ahead or what was behind us? I don't.
Special events anymore, but
Behind us, Tom Petty band. Yeah. He's beyond sick. They look great.
My husband even came to that one. I don't think he's ever, well, he's never come here for anything. He came to some things in my past career and it was actually,
Yep.
it was funny because he's like, did you book this band?
I was talking
I was like,
shop with the
did
keyboard
you-
player.
Did you book the
about that
stage? Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
booked the stage, Steve.
Yep.
Did you book the sound system? Yep, did that too. Did all that. Got all your people there.
They played traveling militaries. They played new stuff, old stuff.
That was
really good.
No, it was a really good one, and the next one was good too, and I do book quality bands, I spend a little extra money. But I felt like this summer, finally,
Oh,
the
yeah.
community was like, wow, we got some good stuff here, so. I got some other plans. Sure, I'm gonna have a hard time not wanting to bring Tom Petty back, the Petty Pig back.
I don't think you get any pushback.
Why can't you?
I could, but I try to do something different every year, but it really was such a hit and Kyle, they know who I'm speaking of, our parks guy Kyle, he's 30, and he's like, honest, I had to Google who Tom Petty was.
get down.
Songs.
Such a Tom Petty guy.
And then he goes, oh, I know this one, and then there'll be another one, I'm like, I think you're gonna know this one.
I like a basketball game ever. Your
Yeah,
life.
so- No, we were in the three of us were in a meeting again today, I guess in some ways it was looking ahead and recapping, but I never ever wanna not appreciate the team that I have behind me, which is Phil's team, and we're transparent, this summer was rough. Phil was, the parks guys were down in body,
We
but.
might knuckled it through.
We did, but what I said today to the team, and I'll say to you guys, is the best thing that you can do when you're doing an event or you're serving the public, is that the public doesn't understand or doesn't see that behind the scenes, you're white knuckling it.
Yeah.
And that, you're doing things behind the scene, like we were chasing our tails a lot, but the people that worked with us really stood up. And I'm not talking just my events, because I'm one woman show, but Phil's team are the ones that are there with me. And so I only have so much capacity because they're working overtime for me. So it's not like that's all they do. It's like, what are we gonna do today, Nicole? They've worked 8 hours and then there's another 5 hours with me or weekends, but it's some of the special events that come in. I think that the first half of July was a real pressure for the city. We had the Red Ribbon Boom, 4th of July. I was technically on vacation, but I was on the phone with Phil.
Okay.
And my husband's like, you're supposed to be on vacation. I'm like, I can't have 10,000 people come to this community, Steve. I gotta do that, but that kind of thing. And then we pivoted the next weekend and we had Thomas, Cascade Soccer Group, Sip Fest.
Biggest tournament for Cascade.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
3 huge things. We were truly like, I don't know, we were busy. We were really pressed. And we got through it and we got through it. There was no casualties. I think
Yeah.
that's where we're at.
That's right.
And there's some things that we know we can do better for next year to try to make some improvements and try to manage our capacities. So, and then we had the block party on Saturday, which,
Great. I went.
were you there?
Yeah.
This is the 4th year. It's a partnership between the chamber and the city. Admittedly, I am not doing as many boots on the ground. I'm kind of writing checks and helping the staff. It really is a heavy lift for the chamber. And if they didn't do that heavy lift, I don't know if I could do that heavy lift, so I wanna kind of keep that relationship. But this was, I think, the best year.
That's what I said too.
Yeah.
I thought it was the best year that I had been in a long time.
Yeah.
And I felt like, you know, kind of during COVID, it just kind of went down.
Well, it went away,
Okay.
Jason Green
Yes.
did it, and then we brought it back, and then one of the guys was working the event, he had worked both Snoqualmie Days last year, this year, and Black Friday that last year and this year, and he said, oh, this is a really good event, he said he felt like it was even better than Snoqualmie Days, which I don't wanna put down Snoqualmie Days, cause the city has a big role in that. But I think that one is a little different, it's got a different vibe, it's also in August, it was a really, really hot day, and it was also the last weekend before school started, and the block party is schools in
Rainy
session,
day.
but people are in town. Yeah, so, but it was a really, really good event, and it, it's just nice to see, to celebrate all the different cultures that we have in the community. You know, from pony rides to starting, with the Chinese Dragon Parade and the mariachi band, it's just a really good event, and I can say that, like, cause I wanna give credit to the chamber, but that was a good event. So now we're just looking forward to Halloween and then, the holiday lighting, which we've already started. Brian Barnett is, just newly promoted to be a park superintendent. He's awesome. He's worked with the city for 10 years. He started as a seasonal, which is what we call our summer help.
Yeah.
So he's literally grown up. He grew up here, graduated from Mount Sinai, and, I really look forward to continuing to work alongside him, and he is my partner in crime with the lighting. And he and I are very aligned and think alike. And so I think basically you're gonna see the same. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do more, but it's not gonna go down. And we're also looking for ways to work smarter. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I'm up to.
No, it's not a special event, but something to be aware of.
Sure, Dylan.
Downtown, the last night I got funding to start construction on the River Trail Phase 1, or it's now called Northwest Sandy Cove. So it's gonna be a construction
Say that again,
Northwest Sandy Cove.
northwest of Sandy Cove, that's the name of
I
it.
love Sandy Cove.
west of Sandy.
Yep, River Trail northwest of Sandy Cove, it's a geolocation actually of the
Okay.
trail. And it will be a construction site over the winter. And it's across from Centennial Trail, kind of where the trains are parked.
It shouldn't impact me then.
No, it won't, but I'm just letting you know, cause I was thinking about the trains being lit up and everything, and I was like, oh yeah, cause I'm moving across the street.
There's a sign there now, right?
There's a sign there,
Small
that's my
saying-
permit sign.
Yeah.
Or the notification of an impending permit project. And so, yeah, that's where the construction yard, the laydown yard.
Do you have any money in your operational budget that could fund the train?
No.
Don't shake your head. I am trying to help get money for what we do through him.
I keep all my things to myself.
No, you play nice on the playground.
Absolutely,
Well,
but
kudos to you guys for a huge summer full of events. And
Yeah.
like you said, even staff adding on splash pad, that's a lot. to
Yeah.
get going.
The splash pad was, I mean, we opened that on June 6th and we have not shut that thing down. I mean, the weather has been great and
Yeah.
there has been a trickle down effect of economic development. People have come from
Yeah.
all over
All
and
over.
they come and then I've talked to the businesses, they're getting pizza, they're getting Starbucks, they're going to Swirl.
Yeah.
They're going to Weekend Coffee. So it's working, right? Like what we wanted it to do. And we're just gonna get better next year, but there was a little bit of a price to pay with staff time and stress and cost of water and how we were getting chlorine delivered. But we worked it out. And so we'll be that much better next year when we open it up. Watch it will be very nice.
What are the dates on the opening and closing of that part?
So what the intention was,
Mhm.
was Memorial Day to Labor Day. And it is,
Yeah.
and the reason is that the weather's still warm enough, like we want to get the most benefit out of the
Okay.
summer when we can. So
Done a
Yeah,
great
people been
start
asking.
opening.
We did, you're right, Paul. And now I've had moms call and ask, and I just say, you know, we're gonna go the middle of September, we're just gonna play it by ear. I mean, if there was a heat wave next week, we would shut it down, but
Yeah,
if it
that's
started
fine.
raining, it'll be shut down, and then if there's a heat wave October 1st, we're not opening it up, like.
Yeah.
It's shut down, it's not a switch that you just flip. You can
Oh,
still-
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
Water level.
Chemicals treatment involved, like there's, I mean,
I want
there's.
things to freeze.
You have to flush it like you would a sprinkler system.
So,
Would you,
What's
do
that?
you have to flush it and winterize it like?
We do,
sprinklers?
yeah, it has to
When
be
it shut down,
flushed.
it shut down, yeah.
Before it shuts down, I recommend stand under the heavy bucket.
Yeah.
I was there in July and I just, all the little kids were around and just like.
You're that guy.
Yeah.
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Well, the soccer people told us at the end of the soccer tournament, like all the people that were, the adults that were running it.
All the
They
volunteers.
they
The
just
splash
late
pad.
at night, just sit there and we're just like.
Or you can hide behind the waterfall and scare kids.
It's really beautiful.
For all that work, you guys,
It's
so it's such a hit, like,
Yeah.
just.
And the
overwhelming
views, it's
success.
just beautiful, yeah.
And there was construction there this winter to do some repair work to the facade.
And my,
Yeah.
oh, good,
Yeah.
good. And the shelter, you're gonna build me my shelter?
I was just gonna ask that.
Thank you.
So
Would you like
I-
to tell Dylan what you would like to have, please?
So well, I'm just gonna
Shade.
throw this out there, so I know a lot of friends in the community that have kids at Cascade Youth. Held birthday parties there this summer, and what an opportunity to, I mean, I know the cost of a shelter, laying concrete, all that stuff would be a lot of upfront cost. But on the back end, reservations and having that available would just be such a huge.
Thank you. I've been saying this for a year and a half, so thank you for telling them, yeah.
Agreed that it's the locations that we have available to us. And yes, it is expensive and something that we didn't plan to do, neither the pros plan or in our next year.
They didn't talk
It
to
is
the
something that's
office mom.
exciting to do, but
But it's hard though with the, and he's right,
Terrain.
right, where there's a will, there's a way, but it's hard because nothing is really level, like
Yeah.
everyone knows that one tree right outside the garage, like that's where the moms go first and
Right.
everything else, but.
that's what we have to take from it.
What about a pop-up scenario? You know, a lot of folks bring their own pop-up tents. Could that idea
I
be
wouldn't do
more of
that if I
a
was
pop-up kind of thing? That way you avoid permanent infrastructure and the investment with that.
We allow people to do. it.
We do allow it, we have a process in place for it, but we actually do want a permanent structure and there is
Yeah.
cost recovery in that, you know, you have a birthday party that costs it and eventually it would pay for itself. Probably not too long.
Yep, it's tricky because it'll be an operations question, so if you go that route, capital. Anyway, we can talk about this later. The trick is retaining walls are expensive. Guaranteeing the stability of the retaining wall is the trick, the size of the infrastructure is the other thing.
Not letting up the pressure.
I want this, again, not trying to be obstructionist here.
I'm just letting you know, on behalf of all
There's a
the
lot of
moms, I'm
things
not
to be
going
Great
away.
opportunity, and I mean, just having picnic benches, like to your point, Phil, like the pop-up, having that there would be great. Being able to, bring your own tent, but as a mom going somewhere where there's picnic benches already lined up, there's
Yeah.
a shelter already in place, that's key. So,
Yeah. You don't wanna drag your 3 little kids and a tent
Yeah.
Yeah.
to go have a summer day.
I was talking
Yeah.
more about the city facilitating the pop-up
Okay.
equation.
That makes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've looked at reserving areas, just like there's reservations for parks that we have. Without a structure there, we are gonna get this much money in space. So we're basically putting a pause on for the remainder of the year doing any sort of reservation process stuff. Waiting for our fee study to see what that kind of spits out on the other end and seeing if we maybe approach it a different way next year.
You just said something too, please say, which goes back to Paul. Well, we talked about this in 2018 when we would meet at the police station.
If it's before COVID, then. Oh,
You're right, but just know that the city has been, we're in the midst of a fee study, which they looked at all of the different fees and park rental fees and all of that. And we're hoping to get some clarity on that, maybe go to council before the end of the year, but I think it's likely. Some of the park fees will go up, or we've just never had fees in place. Like, if you go to parks, you see people are running their business out of their parks, and that's a gift of public funds, like, we have to deal with that, so hopefully it works.
And I'll just say for anybody who's interested or for inquiring minds that it's my personal belief that if park fees go up, I would love to see some of that money come back into the park system so we
Yeah.
can continue to do great things.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's generally the.
Right now.
Yeah, Phil, does it go to the general fund? Does it not come right back to parks?
Parks is general fund, so parks is in the, what happens with the NEP study for everything is to calculate the difficulty, let's say, of parks. Giving this space, either privacy, or going out there and locking off the parking lot and preparing signs and. Anything it takes to, prepare the fields for the soccer teams to play, there's all sorts of work. It's to make sure we're adequately recovering all the effort that goes into providing that space specifically, yeah. So right now, we're not recovering it
Right.
fully. That's the reason why we're reviewing the fee. So that's why it's tricky. We don't typically use the fee to recover the cost of the device, the thing,
Right.
but rather to cover the cost of the guys or gals doing the work to
Right.
prepare the site for.
There's certain things you're never gonna have 100% cost recovery, because it's just,
Sure.
you can't, and you have to, but. I would hope that,
Yeah.
somehow.
And then as
we'll
economic
find out.
development, we considering that it's. It all goes back to the general fund, actually goes into operations for parks.
All right, so that's what you say.
Source of revenue essentially.
I missed when you said construction was starting. It was gonna be a construction site over the winter, but when is it?
I'm gonna do a pre-con probably next week, so they'll probably have fences up a month. Yeah, I don't know how torn up it'll be in 2 months, but pretty quick. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, the hurdle was getting the contract, going through the bid process and designing the thing. Yeah, it's faster than it seems.
And it's something that could be constructed in bad weather.
Well, for the most part, there won't be divers in the water like there was for Sandy Cove. That's a very nerve-wracking experience. This is more like excavator work and sighting things and a lot of plant restoration work and some bridges. So,
That's right.
Why did you need divers?
yeah, so you need divers at Sandy Cove when we're replacing those Hershey Kisses, the bags of sand with gravel on them, they're like a core fabric. When they get placed by the excavator and drags it out, they have to be sighted where they are placed. And so you have to have a construction worker in a diving suit. Hard hat in, guiding the sandbag in. And as you can imagine, that is it feels crazy. Yeah. So
Sounds a little over the top, but I'm sure it's necessary.
it's required to maintain our turbidity monitoring requirements to the state being in water work. It's a whole mess of thing.
Oh, I believe it.
Sandy Cove got permitting, so we'll be doing more work there next year. Next summer, will be Sandy Cove construction site again.
Okay. Great.
Sorry to take.
Oh.
I'm special events now.
No, you're not, it's actually a really good park project, and we're waiting a long time to
We'll
get.
let you on this.
You are special.
Okay, we have future agenda topics. So it sounds like Google polls coming out.
Yep. I'll
To,
follow up with
yeah,
that.
our field trip. And then November, cricketers potentially coming,
Yeah.
yay. Is that something that you want me to follow up with Jeff about when he's back? Jeff and you, should I email you both just to
Sounds good.
check?
Yeah.
Okay,
I can organize it if you say we like this.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it would be really beneficial to hear from them. Think them, talk about how good India Valley is, all of that.
We could bring in India Valley.
Hey. They're
I was gonna say, don't say that, they'll wanna bring it in.
Yeah, so any
Yeah,
other
exactly.
commissioner agenda topics for November?
Since we're trailing off of the events report, and sometime back I asked about this or we discussed it. I would love to figure out a way for commissioners to get involved with holiday related events. I would love that opportunity again. We did for COVID, help to put lights up. I know maybe there's a liability thing there now, or we were involved with. I dressed as the Grinch once as we're waiting for Santa to arrive. I make a really good Grinch.
Can you
Yeah.
chainsaw ice statue?
Yeah. The ground.
So if you need me,
I'm not saying
How
it's a liability.
specific do you want it?
I love this because I often feel like we have a role, the parks and trails maintenance, but yeah, you're just here kind of reporting the wonderful things that you do, and we don't necessarily have hands-on like help for you. And so if there's, I don't want to give you more to do to think about what role we can play, but it's in my brain to try to figure out.
What?
You know, the ordinance.
We need a
Summer sex.
He has a list of this.
Yeah, I know, that's right. I mean, I think definitely, I mean, we have staff come in, but yeah, it might be nice to have volunteers that day just to do some things. One of the things, there's a group coming in, Love Snoqualmie on October 4th, and I'm hoping that they fill it with some master gardeners, because one of the things I'm hoping is I did some tulips underneath the tree 2 years ago, and it's time to dig those all up and put those in. I'll buy them with my budget. And I'll put some tulips in there, and trim the rose bush, but like if the volunteers can't do it, then I do have to have the staff do it, so there are some nice things like that. Yes.
We can talk about it.
You're gonna reduce my tulips?
No, you can. I just want you.
You guys have a lot to-
Don't look at me.
Yeah.
I just want to.
We want petunias.
Exactly.
You know,
It's a different
or-
balls.
Daffodils,
Yeah.
not tulips, yeah.
Exactly.
Or maybe if there's events where it involves the community and we can sort of play our commissioner role. As
Yeah.
far
You could
as,
get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
I
support.
guess that's
showing
partially me, I guess I'm kind of used to, I'm not trying to be a martyr, but just like a one woman show and then having staff and just not having, I mean, I have it dialed in, you know, what we
Yeah,
can
you
do.
definitely do.
Just, yeah, that's good to know that maybe I need to retrain my brain. to
Could you just
do
say
it.
volunteers, you add staff or what we're talking about stuff, obviously we do different roles, but could you just add volunteer time?
Yeah.
And you're
Like
like,
you
hey,
have the
Paul, put this
cookie
vest on,
thing,
and if
little
I say
cookie
you gotta go
thing,
run
do
over
that.
a whole light, then I'm not, yeah.
Absolutely.
To that.
Yeah,
Are you the one that manages that with the Christmas? The
I have done the
cookie decorating?
in the past, yeah, well, that's, yeah, usually
That's weird.
it's been different people throughout time, but for different reasons,
There
but
was a very robust participation from this commission, 10-ish years ago, I know. Maybe 8 or 9 on, as far as everyone would show up and be involved, and there was an eagerness there to that effect. With like holiday events and whatever it looks like, just.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to figure out how we could get plugged into something, which would help us as commissioners feel like it would fill that added dimension to our role.
Yeah.
I think,
Okay.
so,
okay,
thank you.
On that note, plug for Green Snoqualmie Day, and so Green Snoqualmie Day will be happening Saturday for along Park Street. And we're gonna be planting out next to the community orchard there. We're gonna be doing planting some conifers, and then we're also gonna be doing infill planting between the already installed trees from last Green Snoqualmie Day a year ago. And at the end of the day, we're gonna go into the community orchard, and there's gonna be somebody, an orchardist who's gonna offer a free class on how to prune fruit trees for anybody that's interested. So,
And you'll be advertising on the details?
Yes.
Green Snoqualmie
we
Day.
will,
Okay.
it'll be pushed out. There'll also be signs actually on Park Street with a QR code, so you can. People who are walking by can take a photo and find out.
Probably not for kids.
Absolutely. for
Oh,
kids.
lots of kids show up.
Absolutely. for
Kids always show up.
And there'll probably be pizza too.
okay.
Try and feed people at these events these days.
Are they signing up through Jason or are they signing up through the Love Snoqualmie page?
Both,
Both, yeah,
I believe.
yeah,
So Love Snoqualmie Valley.
yeah, I think they're posting all the different opportunities on their site.
Are those the signs I see up?
There's, I think they put them up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Great, super nice.
I know we're getting late, but one thing I want to mention, you've seen probably lots of new trees pop up along the streets in downtown Snoqualmie. This is just an awareness thing I want you to know. So there's a lot of connection between trees and public health. Okay, and that's not just, I'm not going to go there because it's a fascination and a passion for me, but there's 2 census blocks in downtown Snoqualmie that have much less tree canopy cover and much less of the benefits that trees provide to people. And so that project was designed around, can we get more tree canopy in downtown Snoqualmie? And that is also driving like where we're doing Green Snoqualmie Day. We've done that on the Ridge in the past. We've done it over Three Forks, the other side of the dog park. And we're making a concerted effort to make downtown as green as other areas of the city. There's disparity. So there's a disparity in the natural resources that people in this town have, depending on where they live. And that actually also is a disparity in health outcomes. So just wanted to mention that.
Interesting. All right, guys. Think we've reached. There being no further business to come before the commission, right? I'm gonna entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion for anybody like to lead a motion to adjourn? So moved. So moved. Thank you. Anybody second that? Second that. Great. Yeah. There's a motion by Nate Frank to adjourn, seconded by Amanda Frank. All those that approve say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. All right, thank you all so much.